My name is Amy McInnes. This is The Art of Plenty. I'm excited and I'm a little bit nervous to have this conversation with you today. I'm nervous because there's some things that I want to share that are more personal than perhaps I'm used to sharing, or topics that I haven't really talked about yet. But I'm here and you're here. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the downside of goal setting. Yeah, you heard me. The downside of goal setting. Now, if you have done anything in personal development or professional development, you know that goal setting is a big deal. We can apply it to almost every realm of our life. We can have relationship goals, we can have financial goals, we can have family goals, we can have health goals, we can have educational goals, parenting goals. There are indeterminable opportunities to utilize goal setting. Furthermore, there is also a plethora of content out there that focuses on how to do this right, how to be successful, not only at forming your goals, but accomplishing your goals. Things like SMART goals, things like accountability, things like maintaining motivation. And all of these things are super helpful. And they can make the difference between accomplishing your goals versus not accomplishing your goals. But let me ask you this. When was the last time that you set a goal? Can you bring the particulars of that goal to your mind? Just for a moment, draw that up. Think about what you were trying to do, what you were trying to accomplish. Did you have a timeline? What were you working toward for that goal? What was the motivation? What was the driving force for you to want to achieve that in your life? Did you actually do it? Did you meet your goals or did you fail? But here's what I'm really after. What was the fallout afterward? Whether you accomplished it or you didn't accomplish it, what happened afterward when you were no longer moving towards that goal? Dieting is a perfect example of this. There is a lot of research and information out there that when people go on diets, even when their diet is successful and they meet their goal, a few months later or a year later, they're back to the weight that they were before they started the diet, or oftentimes they can even be heavier than when they first started the diet. This is what I'm talking about when I say what's the fallout after the goal has ended. Now, I'm going to tell you why I'm thinking about this. I just started training for a triathlon. It's the only race that I've ever really trained for, because I've only ever done one race as an adult. I never even really did this as a kid, outside some track and field events from elementary school. And sidebar, the school signed me up for high jump, and I was probably in the bottom 3 for height in my class. And when I got to the district track meet for high jump, I swear I was up to other kids' belly buttons. There were kids that could have easily put their chin on the top of my head. I was not tall, and I had not practiced. Needless to say, I did not do very good in high jump in elementary school, but I digress. As an adult, the only race I have ever competed in is a Kootenai Fun 5, which is an awesome event. It's a family-focused event, and it is so fun. I have loved being a part of it. But that's it. And that some people definitely compete in that and are competitive about it, but I'm just there running and supporting my family and my kids and having a wonderful time doing it. But that is it. That is my only experience in running in a race as an adult. And I never trained for it. I just did it. So competing in a triathlon is a big deal for me. It is completely out of my comfort zone. And it's a significant commitment. The training program that I've selected is 16 weeks. And that means that every week I am running, biking, and swimming twice a week. 6 days of significant training. And I'm doing this for 4 months. So in order to get motivated, to activate my discipline, my commitment, my grit for this race, I had to dig into the reason why I'm even considering doing this race in the first place. I knew that I was going to need some serious internal motivation to stay on my training plan. And all my efforts to engage outside accountability failed. I could not convince any of my friends that this was a good idea and that we should do this. Nobody was on board. So my first step was to excavate my why. I knew that deep down, hidden underneath my flippant desire to compete, was a truth, was a reason why I would even consider doing a try in the first place. And I knew that if I could find this reason, it would propel me on the difficult days. It would be like coal for a train. And I could use it. I could use my why as an intrinsic motivator when I didn't feel like going to the pool or getting on the treadmill to run and run and run. So here's how I went about uncovering it. I asked myself, why? Why do I want to compete in a triathlon? And my answer to that, my first answer was, well, I want to know if I can do it. So then I asked myself again, why? Why do you want to know if you can do this? And I thought about it and I thought, well, because completing a triathlon is hard. And if I can do that, it means that I'm strong and it means that I'm healthy. So I asked myself again, well, why does that matter? Why does it matter if you're strong and healthy? Are you ready for this? It's a doozy. This is the coal that's going to keep the fire burning through those 16 weeks of training. This is the coal that I uncovered in my why. If I'm strong and if I'm healthy, then it means that I've put cancer behind me. I've picked up the pieces of treatment and I'm done with it. I've moved on and I've moved away from that time in my life and I've proved to my body that I am well. Now, the reasonable part of my brain knows that a triathlon is not the measurement of well-being. It is not the measurement of recovery. But in this case, reason doesn't matter. Because there's a part of me that wants a release. There's a part of me that wants healing from the cancer, that wants to let go of the cancer part of me. And I don't want to sit here and judge why I feel that way or come up with all sorts of reasons of why that's ridiculous. I just know that I want to do that, and that's a way that I can move towards this goal. But here's the problem. Here is the problem with goal setting. Here is the downside to having a goal of completing a triathlon. I don't know if I'm going to do it. There is a lot that can happen in the next 16 weeks. There are a lot of things that I can't predict, that I can't control. I'm making plans in my heart, but I don't always know where that path is going to go. So specifically, what does this mean? Well, this isn't just some something crazy could happen in the next 16 weeks and I won't be able to do it. I'm not talking about something like that. I'm talking about something very real that's on my potential things that could happen in the next 16 weeks. I've been on a wait list for surgery for a couple of years. And at any point, I could get a call and say that surgery is in the next 3 weeks. It's in the next 2 weeks. It's in the next month. If surgery comes up during my triathlon training, I will not be able to recover from the surgery in order to do the triathlon training. Because, again, I've never done this before, and I need the full 16 weeks. I can't take a month off in the middle of it, or the 6 weeks off in the middle of it, and be able to do this. At least, I don't think I can. I haven't actually ever been in there, so who knows? Maybe that's still a possibility. But I know that this is something that can completely disrupt my plan, that could completely disrupt my goal. And do I have control over it? Yes. I could say, no, I'm not going to do surgery. I'm busy training for a triathlon, but I don't want to do that because I've been waiting for 3 or 4 years to have this surgery. I've been on the wait list. So my desire to have the surgery is greater than my desire to do the triathlon, because both are related to my ultimate heart of moving past cancer. So now what? This is the downside of the goal setting. How do we deal with the fallout or the potential fallout when there are things that are out of our control? What do we do after? When we either accomplish our goal or, in this case, where we may not be able to accomplish our goal. I wonder if this is perhaps why some athletes have that post-competition letdown. I don't know if you've heard about that, but there's some conversations out there related to Olympians who, when they finally reach their goal and have success, gold medal success, that can be this significant letdown, this disappointment because they've achieved the goal. And now what? Now what do they do? When everything is moving and driving you toward that one aim, how do you cope with it once it's done? How do you cope with it when it's done? So I'm seeing that there are 2 distinct problems with goal setting. 1, we may not be able to make that goal happen. 2, we can accomplish our goal, but afterward, we can lose the ground that we have gained, or we can have the emotional letdown. Now, if you know me at all, you know that I love reframing. I love taking things and switching it up so that we can see it different, so that we can have a positive way to look at it. So where did I get to? Where did I get to with my reframing of my goal? Well, to be honest, I couldn't get there on my own. I just had this lump knowing that I might not be able to do it. And how was I going to stay motivated in my goal if I knew that I may not be able to complete it? But I was having a fantastic conversation with my steel sharpener. And what I mean by that is I've got someone in my life who sharpens me all the time. And it's my husband, Jody. He's constantly driving me to be better. And he said to me, well, maybe rather than focusing on the goal element of it, you need to focus on the systems aspect of it. If you look at the process, if you look at the habits that you're forming by doing this kind of training, is that enough? Is that enough that whether you do the triathlon, whether you accomplish it or you're not able to do it, is knowing that you're doing something like increasing your strength, increasing your health, is that enough for you? Can you focus on the system that you're building, on the process, rather than on the goal? And I've decided in this case, yes, that's what I want to focus on. I don't want to focus on whether or not I'm going to be able to do it, because If I allow that thought in that I may not reach my goal, I may not be able to do my goal, I'm creating space for a cop-out where I won't put my whole heart into it. But if I focus on the system, the process of increasing my cardio, of training, and recognize that this is not going to put me behind, it's only going to move me forward in health and in my life. And if I focus on that, is that enough? Even if I don't end up competing in the triathlon, I'm still making gains. I'm still making gains. I'm still moving toward that feeling of being strong and that feeling of being healthy. Now, I haven't given up on my goal of competing in the triathlon. On the contrary, it is still very present in my mind. But I am guarding my heart against the disappointment by choosing to see that there's more at work here than just my goal. I'm guarding myself from making the excuse, from copping out of my training by saying, why would you even train today? You may not even get to do this. It could be all for nothing. I'm protecting myself from that because that is the perk of looking at systems. And you can do both congruently. You can be goal setting and you can be focusing on systems, on habit building, on process creation. And I'm saying this to myself. I'm training for this specific goal, but at the same time, I'm creating habits that I want to be a part of my life, which is habits related to being active and to doing high levels of activity on a frequent basis. I'm gaining ground that can't be taken from me because the joy of doing the training is joy, regardless of whether or not my goal happens. I'm living a lifestyle here. I'm creating a life that I want to live. Goals, they come and go. They're not the measurement of the life that I am living. That concludes today's episode of The Art of Plenty. We are all about building a community of like-minded individuals, so let's stay connected. Hit subscribe and follow us at The Art of Plenty or at amymckinnis.com. We would love to hear your thoughts, experiences, and even your favorite life hacks. This content is created and intended for entertainment purposes only and should not be construed as professional advice. Please consult directly with qualified professionals. As always, I consider it an honor that you chose to spend time listening in today. It is a privilege to be able to share my heart with you. Until next time, keep creating your masterpiece, a life of plenty.